a little box pops up on your screen. Click the word "Got it." That should clear it off your screen. And find your chair. Sitting at the front edge of the chair. So right away, when we begin our seated meditation, those three main principles that Tai Chi and Qigong try to focus on are available for us to play with. So Zhongjung, which means central upright. So without that central upright, then none of the other things we try to practice will work out the way we want. So we have to notice, what are we often doing wrong? Often we're slouching in the back. So we want to tip the pelvis a little forward. The lower back should come sort of in, get a little curve there. The other thing that's often happening is in the head and neck, especially if we have this slouched posture, then we're lifting our chin up and closing off this gate of the neck and skull. So we want to both tip the pelvis a little bit forward and then bring the chin down, back of neck open and long, and the crown of the head as if there's a string tied to the very tip-top crown of the head, and you're lightly suspended from that string. So the movements we'll do in a moment will help free us up to create this shape, this Zhongjung central upright. So if it feels a little difficult to create it, that's why we do some of the movements that we're going to do. But firstly, get that as best you can feeling of central pillar, central upright. Then the next concept is called Chunwan, which means soften and relax into stability. So often when we think about being stable or being balanced, there's a natural sort of grabbing on that we do to try to hold ourselves stable. But instead, think relax and release all tension from the body, sort of like sediment settling down at the bottom of a glass of water and creating a sort of heaviness down in the bottom. So that's what we want. Rather than holding that in our bodies, that actually makes us top heavy when we stand up and more likely to fall. So we have our central line, Zhongjung, Chunwan, we soften into stability, soften and relax and let everything settle. And notice that when you relax and settle, you don't slouch. In fact, your body plumps up a little bit. There's a little extra spaciousness and looseness in the body when we relax. So that's the first two, and then the final one, the third one, Qingling, which means light and nimble and liberated and free. So when we have our upright and relaxed and sunken into stability body, what is left is Qingling, this light, nimble, fluid, free to move, spirally ability. So just in sitting and meditating, breathing in, breathing out, you consider these three things in your mind: central upright, relax and settle into stability, and feel that lightness and freedom in the body. And let's just do that for another 5 breaths here. Let some people in. And then what we want to use for our movements is this Qingling quality, this nimbleness. Rather than tensing up and moving the body, we want to stay super loose and relaxed, and it's more like hydraulics, fluid, right? We are, in fact, a big bag of fluid, essentially. So now, first movement, slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back. Right, so we pull back the arms and lift your chest a little bit, lift your chin, look up to the ceiling. Then we'll do the exact opposite. Slide the hands forward till the elbows lock, chest hollows back, drop the head and open the back side of the neck and skull. And reverse again, sliding the hands, elbows back, shoulder blades back, look up. And slide hands forward all the way, hollow the chest back and drop the head. Let's just do that 3 more times. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again and again. The idea of a healthy body is one that can change, that is not stuck in this shape or that shape. So that's why we're making this totally arched back bend shape looking up, but we don't want to get stuck here. We want to be able to freely transition all the way through to this other shape that, again, we don't want to be stuck here either. And transition. And transition. And again, soft, relaxed, loose, ching-ling, light and nimble. Last one here, just arching. And then let's settle to the middle. That was movement in the forward and backward plane, known as the sagittal plane. Now let's do rotational plane. So left hand, slide it forward just like you did a moment ago. Right hand, slide back, elbow back like you did a moment ago. So together they go opposite. Turn your shoulders and head to the right. And then let's switch sides. So we transition back through neutral. So we're here we kind of come right through here and go to the other side. Look over the shoulder. And then transition right through neutral and over to the other side. Noticing that your middle, more or less, stays intact. The idea that you have a center. The center can remain, you might say, still, but the movement is free. All the way one way, all the way the other way, including the head and neck, right? So we're turning all 24 vertebrae and the skull. And then all 24 vertebrae and the skull. And just remember, Qing-Ling, light, nimble, loose. Not adding a bunch of force. And then let's settle back to the middle. And then the third plane of movement is lateral or coronal plane. Hang your arms. Shift your weight more to your right buttock. Lean sideways and lift this left wrist up. And possibly even if you feel the lightness in this left foot, let that foot lift off the floor a little bit. And you kind of flirt with disaster. You're right at the edge. And then we come back through middle, change over to your left buttock, left arm reaches down, right wrist floats up, lean. And then change. So it's a shift in the buttocks. All 24 vertebrae are doing a lateral tilt, but we're doing it loose, light. And what we're also cultivating is this middle. The Taoists talk about the navel, the belly button level. That's this middle pivot that is like the center of a seesaw that stays still and organizes the movement of the seesaw. Without the middle pivot, the seesaw doesn't work. So same idea with us. Got to find our middle pivot. And then back to neutral. Now, shoulder blades, known as scapula, on your back. The arms plug in to these shoulder blades. Lift your shoulder blades up, squishing all the muscles up around the neck and shoulders, and then soften that effort and relax. Make sure they get very loose. Let's do that again. Shrug up, all the way up, kind of like you're squeezing a sponge, cleaning out stagnant liquid from the sponge, and then relax and let good fresh liquid flow through that space. Do it again. shrug up, and melt down. This is called elevation and depression, or just releasing down. One more. And down. Now the next two movements of the shoulder blade, retract like you're cracking a walnut between your shoulder blades. Relax and come to neutral, and then protract. Separate the shoulder blades. In order to do that, you have to allow this chest to kind of hollow a little bit. And then neutral, relaxed and easy. Retract like you're cracking a walnut. Relax to neutral. Protract. And neutral. One more. Retract. Protract. Now we put those together. From the protracted position, lift up. Stay lifted up as you go over the top and back and squeeze the shoulder blades back. Stay back as you come down, and then let the shoulder blades go to neutral so you feel this neutral position. Let's do it again. Protract, elevate, retract, and melt down, totally relaxed. Again, eventually you want to be able to flow these circles sort of unhindered. Usually what you encounter is barnacles, stuck spots, adhesions, little tight areas, but round by round, we're promoting flow through the area, sort of liquid to get between the crevices of the joints, right? And then a little up, forward, down, back, up, over the top, forward, down. That one can be a little weirder until you get it, and then it just feels really nice. But again, when these things are new to you, big part of it is the brain, right? So making sure that you're not doing, a whole bunch of this stuff, when what we're really doing is, it's not only where we are moving, but it's where we're not moving, right? This sort of precision for the brain controlling the body. All right, now we're back to neutral. Bend the elbows, bring the hands up. So we stay folded at the elbow crease. And now, like chicken wings, float your elbows out, up, opening all this chest, armpit, shoulder space, right? And then melt those down, come around in front and squeeze. Try to touch the elbows together. This will open up the back, open up that space. Elbows down, out, up. Getting this openness here, the lymphatic system here, as well as, again, this is a normal area of stuck musculature. Down, around in front and squeeze. Let's do one more, just flow. Up, down. So once you clear out, let's do one more of those. Once you clear out the muscle tension, then you want to start to feel Qingling, light, nimble, easy movement. Now, pull elbows back, right? Back behind you. Activating all these muscles back here, opening this front space. Then go elbows down, forward, possibly up with the elbows. All right, you can see that I can get here. Some of you might be here, 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 or here, but just think in this direction. We want to be able to move over time. Now, elbows forward, down, back. And down, forward, up. Flow through that movement twice more. Opening up space. There's a sort of dynamic separating that we're trying to do with the body. the body tends to congeal and get stuck. We want to open up these spaces to feel a little juicier, a little more free. And down. And then the third one in this little set, palms face the floor, one above, one below, cross, and then wrap your hands around and crawl your hands around and just hold this hug. Try to really squeeze close and keep that arm underneath there, Judith. Right arm under your left elbow. Yeah, there you go. So you're hugging the torso and then open, elbows to the side, not back. And then switch, one above, one below. That below one goes under the armpit. This is above. Crawl the hands around. Give yourself a nice hug. Hold. And we'll do one more of each of those. Open. And switch. And last one. Open. And switch. And finally, open. Elbows down, arms down, loose. Goal here being freeing up this joint, this space in here. Many people think of the shoulder as the movement in the socket, but it really, in function, it's this free, open space. When we're doing all of our Tai Chi movements, it's how able are you to open and close this region. So we just spent some time freeing that up to be able to feel loose and light there. Now scoot back on your chair a little bit, feel very stable, and let's bring right knee up, pull the heel in, so it's loading it up like a spring, and then unload, push, reload, set the foot down, other leg, load, push, reload, set it down. Load, push, reload, down. Load and push, reload and down. A couple more. Load, push, load, down. Sort of compressing, extending, recompressing. So free to move. Now, straighten your right leg, foot and ankle. Point the foot, flex, point and flex. Continue. One more. Now invert, this little tilt of the foot in, tilt of the foot out. Small movement, but a really important movement to understand in regards to balance. This little tilt. Now circles in, or point, around and up. So whatever direction you're going, do a few very nice, thorough circles. And reverse, out and around, or whichever your second direction is. And switch feet. Point and flex. Feel the calf muscle and shin muscle contracting and lengthening opposite each other. When one is shortening, the other is lengthening, and vice versa. Loosening that space up. Then invert, evert, that little tilt of the foot. And then circle. Again, that idea of dynamic separation rather than a compacted body. We want the parts to be separate, separated from each other, but not disconnected, right? So they're still dynamically connected, but they're separated. There's space in between, right? Now, scoot forward once again, scoot to that front edge. Step your feet a little wider than hip distance, so you have a little extra space here. Lift your toes, turn on the heels so the knees and toes point in, and you feel your groin area known as the quad, this important little space here, closed, quad closed. Then lift your toes, quad open. Feel that space open. Close. open, close, open. Again, the same idea of dynamic separation. We're trying to open up the canals and little river spaces between the various joints and layers of tissue. So open and close, that helps to flow chi through the area and just blood and awareness into these spaces. Now, back to neutral, bring the legs closer together. Now, from that same qua, legs don't move, torso does move. Fold all the way forward, and then sit upright. And then from that same qua, lean a little bit back. Right? And that's as opposed to not moving from the qua and rounding my spine and dropping my head. Right? A lot of times people think they're doing it by moving the head and neck and spinal joints instead of really finding that hip hinge forward and up, and a little bit of a lean back, whatever room you have. And again, this is important because it opens up our back. To close the qua in front really opens up the sacrum and lumbar area. And these are common pain areas for people as well. Last one. Hold. And upright. All right, now we're going to use that same ability to stand up and sit down. So first things first, bring your feet back a little bit so there's an acute angle at the knee joint. Then arms loose, just like I described earlier. Loose, empty, fold at the qua, pour your body weight to the earth through your legs, and then push to the earth and stand all the way up. Then from that same qua, from that groin area, hinge. So notice here, haven't bent the knees yet, but I have sent the butt back and my arms are hanging out loose. Then fold, find the chair with your tushy, and then come back. So again, we're using the chair to root us, and then we want to pour out of the chair down to the earth through the legs, but we're still rooted. And then push through the earth, stand nice and tall. And then stay rooted through the legs as you fold and sink, find the chair. So sort of gracefulness to getting up and down. So a lot of times what people are doing when it's time to stand up, they go, and put all this force into it, as opposed to melt. So try to find that quality of ease without any, and the same thing when sitting down. A lot of times people do this okay, and then they fall into the chair. They're sort of kerplunk. So notice that and see if you can just fold the body, find the chair without any weight in the butt, and then decide to place it into the chair. Let's do this twice more. Flow, just water. Easy as possible. It's just a great example of how moving correctly, you can now use only hydraulics to accomplish something rather than a bunch of effort and force. All right, now don't sit in your chair. Instead, use the same movement to touch your toes. So the butt goes back, you sink the buttocks nice and low, hang the arms, and then notice you're pretty close to the ground. You might be able to pick up a pen on the ground or your glasses or something that fell. And then push through the earth, and notice the body just naturally stack back up to standing. And there's no need to, like many people do, go like this and hold on to yourself. In fact, relax and let the grounding, that chungwan, be what you rely upon to keep you balanced. And then up here is just Ching Ling, light, nimble, free. Do it a couple of times. So there's something on the ground, you hinge, you sink through. This is the Tai Chi squat, where it's just relaxed, basically almost go into fetal position. And then you push through the earth, rise all the way back to standing, without any need to hold on grip. 2 more. Hips back a little, just sink, melting, and then push to the earth and rise. And 1 more. Sink. Now you still got your chair behind you. Keep your chair behind you. I'm moving that because I have limited space so I can stay on screen. But you have your chair behind you. Please keep it there because our next exercise is tipping forward a little bit into the toes, back to the middle. And that's usually pretty easy, right? We have more foot in front. So this going into the toes, we can control that. The one that feels a little scary is trying to go a little more back into the heels. That's why you want your chair there, just in case. And then back to the middle between the feet, and then lean forward. Notice when I lean forward, I'm not bending in any way. So I'm taking my straight jung body and just leaning it, middle. And then when I go back to the heels, notice I don't lean back like this at all. Move from the middle, go to your heels, and then to your toes. Ideally, you're relaxing so much so that you don't feel like you're coming out of your root or being rooted or being grounded. You're just easily washing back and forth, but yet the whole time you're grounded. You got that sediment, that chunwan, down through the earth. And they even say 3 feet under the feet. Grounded, as if 3 feet under the feet. Now, the next time you're back, open and float the arms up. So we're in our heels here. Then rock to the toes and sweep those arms around, out in front, right about mouth height, palms face up. Then rock to the heels, bring the hands in as if in the mouth. Rock to the middle of your feet, hands come to the middle, belly button. And then that squat, hip hinge, sink, and straighten the arms. Let the arms hang straight. And then stand back to vertical. This is our first Qigong movement. Again, rock to the heels a little bit and sweep the arms back and up. Rock to the toes a little bit, arms reach way out. Rock to the heels, the hands come in the mouth as if bringing something in. Rock to the middle of your feet, your hands travel down. And then this Tai Chi squat, hip hinge, and fold down through. Straighten all the way up. We'll do that 3 more times. Sink chi, wash organs. Rock back. Open. Rock forward. This space closes as the arms wrap around. Rock back. The hands come in the mouth. Rock to the middle of your feet. Hands settle down to belly button height, the middle. And then hips back a little bit, sink, folding, letting the arms soften long, opening the back. Push through the earth, come up, relax, stacking the body. 2 more, rock. According to the Chinese medicine view, this movement promotes the ideal flow of all the channels, and it accentuates our middle and helps us learn how to move in that hydraulic way, round by round, sloughing off tension. Last one, back, forward, back, middle, so like a deposit or a settling, and then through. Then what's called shogun, or closing gesture. Wings, turn your arms, palms up, hands come over top, and then this settling. So the idea, another idea in Taoism is that we want our mind down here, not up here. So up here, it's sort of like fire in the mind. It's risen up. We can't stop thinking. We're stressing out. Here, we're resting. It's like we're napping. We're settling. We're returning to stillness. And hands cross. And this Qigong here. Change your weight to your left leg. And then change your weight to your right leg. From your middle pivot, change, change. Now try to do it with a passiveness, a softening. So that Chunwan, we've got Zhongjung, and then we're letting Chunwan go all the way through, connecting us to the ground through one leg, and then we're letting it go down through the other leg, and we're changing which is full, which is empty. But we're really cultivating the middle pivot that is the constant between both. So we also have Chunwan, and then this should have a little Qingling quality, empty. And then we change, so now this is Chunwan and settled and sunk. This is free, light, Qingling, and then change. Now add the arms. As you go into your left leg, reach that left arm down and lift this right wrist up, but keep it loose. And then change everything. So as you're going down through the right leg, right hand reaches down, left hand reaches or floats up. Left foot is now Qingling, light, empty. And then change all the way across. So what we're doing is trying to sort of break a state that they call double weighted. Double weighted is here a sort of frozen state, so that even if I'm going on one leg or the other, I'm not actually finding this loose mechanism, this internal freedom at the central pivot. So look for that idea that you're relaxing and creating one full, three empty, and then relaxing down to the earth. This one empty, and then relax and change, and relax, change. Now it becomes left-right wheel. So the legs keep doing the same thing, but now you do this little alternating wheel. Keep the hand loose. Make the wheel as small or large as feels good, but keep this idea that the central pivot is the goal. So I'll turn sideways so you can see what one arm is doing. Notice this arm here comes up like you're going to tickle your own armpit, right? As this one goes straight out, down. They change. So this one that went out, now it's going down. The other one's coming up under that armpit and then out. And then they change. So this is difficult for the brain at first to manage these two opposite moving parts. And then if that wasn't hard enough, reverse it. So the high hand comes back, tickle under the armpit as the other arm reaches way out in front. And then this one goes down, all the way down as this one is up. This comes back and then down. Forward, back, down, up. And I'm still just from my middle pivot, changing leg, changing leg, changing legs. We're breaking the congealed state of being double weighted, sort of being frozen. We're thawing out these internal mechanisms. And then the final one in this little set, this high hand is going to press straight down like you're pushing something to the floor. As you do that, press, go into this leg, and this hand raises up. Then this high hand presses as if pressing something down through to the earth. as this hand rises, and then pressing down, rise, and then press, rise. Changing leg each time. Into your right leg, into the left leg. Again, into the right, left. And again, when I say right, I'm really talking about your right. I'm going to be your mirror. It's my left. This is my right, but your left. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Now, keep that hand down. Bring the other hand down. We're now in the middle. Shogun. Wings. Roll. Come over top. Settle. Pause for just a moment, letting, just like water after a rainy day naturally finds its way through the earth to whatever the reservoirs and wells are. That's what this moment is. It's saying we let our chi out to play in the body, and then we stop for a moment and become still and allow it to settle and consolidate. And then we let it out to play again. So now let's do some Tai Chi, classic Tai Chi movements. I'm going to turn a little sideways, but you keep facing forward. First movement, rising hands, as if you are painting a wall with the back of your hand. Rise. Now we don't just come back the way we went in. We let there be this little change of all the relationships, and then it's as if we're painting with the tips of the fingers. Let the arms go a little behind. And then we change, and as if painting with the back of the hands. And then there's this little change of all the joint relationships, and then wash down, fingertips painting. And then once we finish back here, there's that little change of the relationship, and then rising. And then that little change of relationship down. Let's see if we can get that to flow really nicely. Rise. The body kind of rises up. And then there's a little bit of a kind of sinks a little bit, and then rise, sink. Let the arms come a little behind, rise. Now, low cradle, hands right in front, got this sort of rounded shape. Open. Hold at the top, wrists are still relaxed. This little space I was talking about in the chest shoulder area is open. And then as you start to sink, let that first change the relationship of your hands. So you went from round to this position, and then you sweep down. This is the crane opening its wings. Open, the body rises a little bit, holding this open space here. And then let all the relationships change and sweep down and get into this low cradle position. Open, the legs straighten, the body rises just a bit. Relationships of arm joints change, and we sweep down under. Again, open. Sweep down. One more. Now, open, and like we do in Shogun, roll palms up, fold over top, and then this sinking down and through, let it go all the way through to totally relax, and then open. Roll, fold, down through. Open, roll, fold. Just let them flow over with ease, down through. One more. There's an open quality. Then as we roll and fold, there's a sort of closing, folding quality. Next one called up and out. Bring the hands towards each other, backs of hands face each other. So there's this internal rotation. Rise up through the middle. And then from here, it's this rolling out and get to the wing position where your fingers, palms are facing somewhat out. And it's just like that crane wing. Comes down, then internally rotate, rise up through this middle space, and then open to the crane wing, float down. So there's a sort of closing in front here. As you rise up, you're still in that closed position, and then there's this opening through the chest, torso, floating down, and then again this closing, almost like you're folding a book closed here, right? Rise up through that space, and then a nice circular flow out. Now, embracing the moon puts those two together. Wings. Now this right arm, roll palm up. As it comes over top, left hand sweeping under. Now we've got high point, low point, and then let them gravitate like magnets towards each other down the midline. And then they go away from each other to the top and bottom. Let's just do that portion again. Right down the midline and up the midline towards each other, and then away from each other. So there's a cognitive quality of challenge here. Trying to manage these two movements. Now, right hand goes up and out, left hand sweeps like a wing. They meet at crane wing. Turn left palm up, bring it up and over as right hand starts to sweep under. And again, they get on this midline, magnets attracting, magnets repelling, and attracting, and repelling. One more. So they're coming towards each other. Now they go away and they keep traveling. Keep traveling around. So this is called embracing the moon. Open, go around. Roll, fold, left hand, right hand under. So there's a little bit of a challenge here of hitting the connect the dot points. So getting here, and then both of them arriving here at the same time. And then managing the movement so both arrive here, here. So there's a meditative mind state required to manage the opposite asymmetrical moving parts within Tai Chi practice. And so that's one of the benefits of it. Out to the wings and down. Hands in the scoop position. Now, rise up just to the collarbone, maybe a little above. Turn the palms to face down. Sink. These two energies are called pung and an. Pung, this feeling of rising, floating up, yet feel that you're still connected 3 feet under your feet, even though your legs are straight and you're, up here. And then here, an, or sinking, settling down through. And then pung, the rising expression of qi. And then turn the palms on, the sinking, just like water. So it's like water and fire, fire and water. That rising expression. And then the sinking, settling expression. Once more rising. Now from here, let's do the forward and back expression. So turn your palms to face forward. Elbows are a little bit behind you. Chest area open. Now, as if pushing forward, all the way forward, but even as you push forward, sort of sit your torso back so that you keep yourself centered. You get full extension of the arms, Arms are extended, but don't let that pull your body. Settle more to your middle so you have a full expression of a push, and yet you don't feel like you're losing your center at all. Then wrap your hands around, and this is called Lu. So it's G and Lu. Lu, bringing back or sort of guiding back. Turn your palms. G, pushing, a forward expression of the chi, of energy. And then Lu, a guiding back, which is different than, let's say, pulling back. This is more like something is coming this way, and I'm just assisting it in that direction. And then turn the hands and G, push. And wrap around and Lu, soft guidance back, leading it back. G, something is headed that way and I'm just helping it along its way. And Lu, back. Now, left hand turn face forward, G with the left hand, so push. This will cause a little turning of the body. Notice it and allow for it. Now, left hand turns to face your body, right hand turns, gets ready for a push. Now, 1 Lu, 1 G. Let that little turn happen. Then turn right hand to face the body, turn left hand to face away. 1 Lu, 1 G. And then can you simultaneously change your hands? And then simultaneously, you got your middle pivot. So you're not losing your middle, but you're freely transitioning through these two opposite positions, where the left is forward, right is back, and you're turned that way. And then you're changing to the other side. And switching and changing. So there's a lot of movement happening, a lot of change is happening, but what we want to focus on is the part that isn't really disturbed, that's not changing. Our middle pivot that's just freely rotating. Last one. And then bring both hands back, settle both hands down, shogun, just to pause after we've done all that upper body Tai Chi. Remember, each one of these is like a little nap, a little moment of stillness, of restoration, of doing nothing. And then the hands come down. Now, arms are loose. We've got our central pivot, and we've been turning it a little bit, and we've been changing legs. Let's use that to do something else. Change your weight to your right leg, turn from your middle pivot to your right, and sweep the hands across. So now your hands are over to your right side. Now turn your left hand so that the palm is facing that way, and your right hand is facing that way, so they're in two different positions. Now change your weight to your left leg, turn from your middle pivot, and let the hands sweep across. That's brush knee and sweep the leg. Now you're over here with the hands. Turn your right hand, get it ready. Turn your left hand, get it ready. And then we shift to the right leg. Turn from that middle pivot in your middle, and then let the hands travel across. Then change the position. Left hand ready, right hand ready. Shift, turn, brush knee, sweep, leg across. Right leg should be empty or empty-ish, and then we're ready to go across. So remember that point I was making, free to transition and change. So your body is not held in one position or another. It's totally free to move. That's the goal here. Changing across. One leg is empty, one is full, but the middle pivot is still our constant. And then we shift and turn and brush and sweep, and now we're totally opposite over here, but the middle is the same. Brush, sweep. It's called the bear washing pause in the stream. Now, this outside hand, let it travel far away from the body. The bear swirls the string. And now it's ready to brush knee as this other hand travels far away. But notice the hand is down in space and then in close. I'm going to turn a little sideways so you can see this hand travels pretty far away, right? There's all this distance between my body and my hand, but my middle pivot remains. And then it comes in close. Now this hand travels far away. Swirl. So the bear swirls the string, just like you're in water and you're just creating this little tidal pool. Now allow that swirl hand to rise up a little bit, and it comes across and then falls back into the water. This is the bear snatches or swats at the low jumping fish. So we're shifting leg, we're turning from our middle, and the arms sweep across. Brush and swat the fish. Now the middle jumping fish, let that hand rise up and come across chest height, gets all the way across. As it falls, it stays to the side of the body, and then we're going brush and sweep across that hand. Then they change. One goes low, one goes high. Brush and swat. Let's go higher jumping fish. That arm up and across, maybe face height or higher. But keep the idea of on or sunken, grounded to the ground. Just like you might picture a big bear, boom, strong and grounded, and yet that power of the freedom of its limb to sweep across. The agility that can be there even with the good grounded strength. Now let's stay in this left leg. Right hand comes down and it's ready for brush knee. Left arm, wing, roll palm up, and fold at the elbow, which is the same as this thing we were doing, right? It's the same movement, but we happen to be shifted to the left, turn to the left. We're all loaded up. Right leg is somewhat empty. Now, change the weight to the right leg, turn from your middle, brush knee, and push. Now that left hand falls into the water, right arm wing, roll, fold, shift, turn from your middle, and then let that send the hands all the way through their range of motion, but I got my middle still nice and stable. It's the freedom of the tissue and joints that allows this movement. So I both want to stay nicely rooted and feel free movement of the limbs. So there's really two phases here. Shift, turn, brush, and push, and then transition and get ready to go the other way. But I haven't shifted yet. Then I shift and turn and brush and push and extend. And then I let everything return and I get to this ready position. Shift and turn and brush and push. Transition. Eventually we take out the little hitch and we just flow. Shift, turn. Wash all the way to the tips of the fingers. All the way. And they return and get ready. Last one. Now, pause here. The weight is in your left leg, right foot somewhat empty. Bring the right foot, turn, and step it a little bit behind you. So the foot turned out 5 degrees, 10 degrees, more or less, whatever. But just have a little bit of turnout in that foot. Change your weight into that leg. And notice that when I go into this leg, if you look at the shape of it, shape of this leg, it isn't locked, right? It's softly sunk, like a bit of a bed spring sunk. So as you let your weight go through that back leg, bring that left hand down. I'm sorry, right hand. This would be your right hand. And your left foot is empty. Bend that elbow, and put the toe out in front of you. So if I turn sideways, you can see I'm here, not here. I'm in the back leg, and this foot somewhat empty, okay, or completely empty. Now, bring your left foot back, toes turned out that 5 or 10 degrees. Change your weight into that leg now. So now you're going down through your left leg. Left hand descends, right elbow bend, and right foot floats out in front. Once again, it's out here touching very lightly rather than it's out here and I've got weight going down to the floor. So trying to find this 1 full, 3 empty. Now we flow this exercise. Bring the right foot back, no body weight. Change the weight as the right hand goes down, bend left elbow and bring left foot out, lightly touch. Bring the left foot back, no weight. Change, hands change, and foot steps out a little bit. Foot comes back, nothing changes in the hands, the foot is ready. Now all together, change the weight, right hand down, left hand up, and left foot empty steps out. Bring the foot back. Change. And arrive. Bring the foot back. Change. Golden rooster stands on one leg. Bring the foot back. Foot back. And feet now parallel, wash your paws. Bear washing paws. This is kind of our basic, it's our home base, this movement. Now, the next time you shift to your left leg and your hands are sweeping across, your right hand, it's my left, but your right, sweeps the leg, turns into vapor, and rises up. Now, shift to the right leg, turn from your middle pivot. This is a cloud across the sky, and then this low hand sweeps low across the leg. Now they change jobs. Vapor up and rain down. Now shift, turn, and then the hands. Vapor and rain. Shift, so you're changing into your right leg, you're turning from your middle of the belly, and then the hands. Wash across. So again, 2 main events. Shift, turn, cloud, lake. Stay in the left leg, vapor and rain. Shift and turn and cloud and lake. Vapor and rain. And once you have those 2 distinct events, then you can make them into sort of an unbroken flow. But first you have to find change leg, turn from middle, and then let the hands continue. Then there's that vapor and rain change. And then there's the shift leg, turn middle, cloud leg. Hands change. Let's do a couple more. True. Each round, when you're practicing correctly, is addition by subtraction. You feel yourself sort of polishing out residue, encountering little adhesions, little tight spots, little weak spots, and bringing life force to them, through them. And both hands down, wash your paws. Back to middle. Now, wings don't shogun just yet. Hug around a tree. Hug around a big tree. So if I lean forward, you can see big round space here, right? Also in the back, we want to not be, let's say here, we want to kind of open this central line. So tail down, chin down, opening sort of a long quality across the spinal column. So we're round. The knees are a little bit bent. Goal here, we might in a traditional setting hold this posture for 20 minutes. So just imagine what that would be like. What you'd encounter is anywhere that you are overdoing it, where you're grabbing onto your body and thinking, oh, I gotta really work to keep this going. But then the opportunity there is melt that. And so sometimes what we're doing is we're too low in our stance, or we're too out here with our arms. And if we just soften and let them come in a little bit, or we're shrugging our shoulders up in a subtle way, that if we just relax. So this is a standing meditation, of which there are many different postures for standing meditation. And every Tai Chi pose is a standing meditation. But the goal here is hydraulics only. Soft, release. Make any changes that are causing you strain, make it a little easier, but polish out. And so what this can do is it puts the workload on the hydraulics on the chi. The chi really beefs up and says, hey, call all soldiers to the battle. Everyone get active, everyone get active. And then when we come out of this in a moment, there's an incredible filling of the reservoir. So we're just holding for a little bit longer, nasal breathing in the nose, out the nose or mouth. And just the final few breaths, I'm going to teach you guys a simple breath technique. Place the tongue against the roof of the mouth, right where your two front teeth meet the gum. On your inhale, keep the tongue there through the nose. Then the tongue goes down behind the lower two front teeth, open the mouth. Then top in the nose. Then behind the two front teeth in the bottom, open mouth. Upper. Below. They say this is incredibly cleansing of staleness. There's a term for it. It's like toxic chi. Last 5 breaths here. Remember, back off as needed, straightening up, bringing the hands back, right? So rather than pushing, and then having to bail, the art of this is learning where to back off a little, where to soften, where to make it sustaining, maintaining as best you can. Last 3 breaths. Let the arms sink. Final shogun, wing, roll, fold over top. Everything settling. Seal, one hand over navel, other hand over that hand. And just breathe natural. Try to drop all activity out of the mind. No activity in the body that's extraneous. body not doing anything. That's one level of letting the chi return. But also we have to do that at that, what they call the shin, or the mental emotional self. We have to have that be able to quiet and be still. And stay very at ease. Let the hands drop. Little Taoist bow or little closing mudra, a harmonization of yin yang. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you know where your chair is, have a seat. If there are any final questions or thoughts, epiphanies, revelations, successes, challenges, whatever.